All right, welcome everyone. We're about to dive into one of the coolest, most talked about topics in tech right now, generative AI. And look, if you're gearing up for that AWS AI Practitioner exam, you are exactly where you need to be. We're going to break down the absolute must-know concepts, the kind of stuff that will really help you get a handle on services like Amazon Bedrock.
Okay, so what's on the docket today? First, we'll nail down what generative AI even is. Then, we're going to peek under the hood at these things called foundation models. They're the real powerhouses here. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, how AI actually writes text and creates images. And we'll finish up with the key takeaways you'll want to remember for that exam. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, first up, what in the world is generative AI? Before we dive deep, we got to figure out where this thing even sits on the map of all things AI. Let's get our bearings.
Okay, so what's the big deal here? Well, it all comes down to one word, creation. Think about it. A lot of AI is really good at looking at stuff that already exists and, sorting it or finding patterns. But generative AI, it's different. Its whole job is to make brand new, original things from scratch. We're talking new text, new images, new audio, you name it.
And this right here? This visualizes it perfectly. Generative AI isn't off in its own little world. It's kind of like a set of Russian nesting dolls. The biggest doll is artificial intelligence, the whole shebang. Open that up and you find machine learning. Inside that, you've got deep learning. And then, at the very center, the most specialized part, that's our guy, generative AI. It's right at the pointy end of the spear.
Let's make this real simple. Imagine you're teaching a computer. First, you show it thousands and thousands of pictures of dogs. Then you show it thousands and thousands of cartoons. Now, here's the magic. It doesn't just memorize the pictures. It starts to get the idea of dog and the vibe of cartoon. So when you turn around and say, hey, make me a cartoon dog, it can actually mix those two ideas together to create something it's never ever seen before. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, next section, the power of foundation models. So we know what this stuff does, but how? Well, if generative AI is like a supercar, then foundation models are the insane V12 engines that are roaring under the hood. They're the absolute core of it all.
So these foundation models, they are the absolute behemoths of the AI world. The two things you got to remember about them are size and flexibility. They're trained on just a mind-boggling amount of data, and because of that, a single one of these models is like a Swiss Army knife. It can write an email, it can summarize a super long document, it can power a chatbot. It's incredibly versatile. And when I say large, I'm not kidding. The scale is just wow. To train just one of these powerful models, you're looking at a price tag of over $10 million, sometimes way more. And you might ask, why so much? Well, it's because you need an insane amount of data and just ridiculous amounts of computing power, running 24/7 for weeks or even months. It's a massive, massive project.
So this leads to a really important point, especially for your exam prep. Because it costs a fortune and is super complex, building one of these models from the ground up, well, it's not something a startup can do in a garage. It's really the territory of the big players, the huge, well-funded companies you see on this list.
Now, this is super important to get. These models basically come in two flavors. You've got your open source ones. Think of them as free for anyone to use and tinker with. Then you've got the commercial ones, where you basically pay to use them, usually through an API. And this is a huge deal on AWS, because with a service like Amazon Bedrock, you get to choose which kind of model you want to work with.
All right, section 3. Let's zoom in a bit. We're going to talk about a specific kind of foundation model that I'm willing to bet every single one of you has used. Let's talk about large language models, or LLMs.
So what's an LLM? Well, it's the engine behind things like ChatGPT. Think of it as a foundation model that went to school for one thing and one thing only, language. It's been trained on, well, a huge chunk of the internet, basically, plus libraries full of books, millions of articles. Also, it can get really, really good at understanding and generating human-like text.
And hey, just for fun, I actually asked ChatGPT if it was an LLM. And you know what? It gave me this perfect answer. This is exactly what they're built for, spitting out text that makes sense and feels like it was written by a person.
Okay, so when you use an LLM, you give it what's called a prompt. That's just your question or your command. But check this out. I typed in the exact same prompt, word for word, 2 separate times. And look at the answers. They're similar, right? They mean the same thing, but they're not identical. The wording is different. What's up with that? This little quirk has a very important name, and you're going to want to circle this one for your exam. It's called non-deterministic.
All that means is that the same input doesn't always give you the exact same output. So the big question is, why? Let's break down how it actually works.
Okay, here's the secret. The model isn't thinking like a human. It has no idea what the right answer is. It's all just a game of probabilities. So when it sees a sentence like, "After the rain, the streets were," its entire brain is just focused on one thing. What's the most statistically likely word to come next?
And as you can see here, it's not just one option. It calculates the odds for all sorts of words. Wet has the highest probability, sure, about 40%, but flooded and slippery are also pretty good bets. Then the model basically rolls a weighted die. It'll probably land on wet, but it could land on one of the others. And it does this for every single word. That's where the randomness and creativity comes from. That's why you get a unique sentence every time.
Okay, section 4. And guess what? This whole idea of generating things based on probability, it's not just for words. It's how AI makes images too. We're going to look at a really popular way this is done, something called a diffusion model.
The way these diffusion models learn is, well, it's kind of wild. It's totally backwards from what you'd expect. To train it, you give it a nice, clear picture, like this cat. And then you systematically destroy it. You add a little bit of digital noise, then a little more, until all you have left is a screen full of static. By doing this over and over, the model becomes an expert at one thing: turning pictures into noise.
So, how does it make a new picture? It just runs that whole process in reverse. It starts with a blank canvas of random noise, and then using your prompt as a guide, it starts to remove the noise step by step. It's like a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble. It carves away the static until a brand new original image that matches your prompt just appears. It's honestly kind of magical.
Okay, we've made it to the home stretch. Let's wrap this up with the key exam takeaways. We've gone over a ton of stuff, so let's just boil it down to the absolute essentials, the stuff you'll want to have memorized for your certification.
All right, rapid fire. Generative AI, the AI that creates new stuff. Foundation model, the giant all-purpose engine. LLM, a foundation model that's a master of words. Prompt, what you tell the AI to do. Non-deterministic, the reason you get different answers each time. And diffusion model, the magic trick for making images out of noise. Seriously, get these terms down cold. They are, quite literally, the foundation for understanding a service like Amazon Bedrock.
And that's a wrap. Those are the fundamentals of generative AI. You now get what it is, you know about the powerhouse models behind it, and you understand the mechanics of how it all works. You're in a much better spot now to crush those exam questions, and more importantly, to start building some really cool things on AWS. I hope this was super helpful on your learning journey.